All right. Are we talking about Kiruv or are we talking about leadership? Which one should I be talking about?
Both.
Both?
This class is about the Kiruv.
I'm sorry, what?
This class was about the Kiruv.
Kiruv tips, it's called. But-
Kiruv tips.
Kiruv tips.
So, boy, I'm being recorded, so they're going to see what I'm talking about. I'm in trouble. Because I tell people, really, you should not go into Kiruv. So, okay, so they won't have me back, but I'm here. What can I do? I remember my teacher. I go back to Aish Torah, from nearly I'm OG. I'm Rabbi Noah Weinberg, and the early days of Aish Torah. And I don't remember Rabbi Weinberg talking very much about Kiruv. I just don't remember that, but maybe I wasn't listening so well. Okay? So I'm going to talk about something else that I do believe in, and it's called Kiddush Hashem. It's one of the Tariag Mitzvot, and I'd like to talk to you. It says, the Rambam says, can we get right to it?
Yeah.
You with me?
Mm-hmm.
The Rambam says, what is the definition of Kiddush Hashem? Anybody with me? How would you define Kiddush Hashem? Just give it a try.
Doing God's will.
Doing God's will. Okay, we got one thing on the table. Doing God's will. And that'll be part of it.
When somebody sees you on the street, he'll want to. He's inspired to be more.
When someone sees you that they are inspired, you mean inspired towards Torah?
Godliness,
Yeah, they're inspired towards. So the Rambam is very simple. Kiddush Hashem, lefarseim dat ve'emunah barabim, to make famous the religion and the emunah of truth among the masses, to inspire people. That is what the Rambam says is Kiddush Hashem. I am not going to do a Shiur right now on the Rambam on Kiddush Hashem, but I want to show it how it crosses over into leadership. But I urge you, if you have the opportunity, learn in Sefer Mada, Perek Hey, of Hilchos Yesodei Torah, and it's going to teach you great things about leadership. All right. Am I standing in the okay place for our camera? Okay. So I'm going to apologize if I repeat a story, but I'm old and that's what old people do. I may have told you about a fellow that I met in Minneapolis last week. I told you. Met a fellow in 2014, and he was a great salesman. Well, okay, so good. You forgot it if I said it. So I talked to this fellow, and he said, I sell medical equipment. Yeah? And you like to learn from people. I said, are you a good salesman? He said, I'm a really good. There's 50 salesmen at this national company. You're looking at numero uno. I am the top salesman. And he said an expression that really caught my ear. He said, I go, because what makes you so good? He goes, I'm in a different business than everybody else, the other 49 salesmen. And I remember my Rebbe, the Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Noah Weinberg, he said, if you're representing Aish Torah, the other guys are doing Kiruv. You are in a different business. And I have to admit, a lot of us were like, what did he mean by that? Like, why did he keep saying we're in a different business? Like, there's a guy in my city from another organization. He talks better than me. He's, better. It seems to be more effective than me. It's not like, oh, we're the ones that are really doing it and the other guys are, just trying. It didn't make any, what do you mean you're in a different business? Yeah? So, Rabbi Weinberg, customarily, at least in talking to him, to me, you're not going out to do Kiruv. You're going out to do Kiddush Hashem. And that's a very different role and a very different goal in what you're doing. You're out there to do Kiddush Hashem. So I'm going to try to show you the crossover between Kiddush Hashem and leadership, Kiddush Hashem and learning, and Kiddush Hashem and living an effective, normal, fulfilling life that you want to live. Because people have all kinds of stupid ideas on what Kiddush Hashem is. All right? So let me start with this fellow. As I remember, his name was Richard Shapiro, and he was in Minneapolis. It was 2014, and I was there for Rosh Hashanah. And so he said, I'm a great salesman because I'm in a different business than all the other medical equipment salesmen. Well, I want to learn. Tell me how you're in a different business. So he tells me, we're selling expensive equipment that goes to medical practices and to hospitals. There's a big commission when you make a sale. And whenever a guy makes a sale, all these salesmen, you make the sale, they come out, yeah! Okay, we're going to be eating steak for the next 6 weeks every night, okay? This was a big one, I got a big sale. He said, I'm the only salesman that doesn't do that. No, what, why, what? He goes, I don't do that. I go, what do you do? He goes, I follow the order online, and I see when the large, this thing for a colonoscopy or this thing for an MRI or whatever it is, I see when it is that it comes from the warehouse and it gets to our local place. And then I see where it goes and it gets to the hospital or to the medical practice. But then you're thinking, okay, wow, no. Then they have to send out a technician to hook it up, and I'm following everything online. And then there's a crew or somebody comes out and shows you, look, I know you've been a doctor, gastroenterology for 30 years, but you never use this one. I mean, there's a 20-minute thing, if I could go over it with you, make sure everybody, your team, understands what you're doing. Then after I see they've click all the boxes, then I call them up, tell me, is that new piece of medical equipment working the way you expected? And you'd be surprised how often they say, no, there's a problem, this or that. This guy's a salesman. He goes, I don't know medical, but one time I fixed it over the phone. He said, because I knew that there was the same problem everybody was having about temperature of the water or something, and I told them to look at the valve, and they did it, and they came back and they said, you fixed it. But I'm really not allowed to do that. Don't tell anyone. And so we send out somebody else, and they fix the problem. I call up again, and they go, I go, is it working the way you hoped? And they tell me, yes, now it is. And then I go, yeah! Because I'm in a completely different business than all the other salesmen. They're selling medical equipment to get a big commission. I am providing doctors with the best tools to treat sick people, and I'm providing for sick people access to the best equipment that will make them healthy again. I'm in a completely different business. That's why I'm the best salesman. Got it? You do your whole job differently. So I know what you're thinking. I know you guys. Can I say it? You're a little bit shallow. I got you right away. You're thinking, okay, it's Kiruv, it's teaching Torah, and what's the difference? Okay, he gave me a Devar Torah about Kiddush Hashem, and what's the difference? There's a big difference, because when you look at what not just your motivation, though it is your motivation, but you're looking at the whole framework of what am I doing, it should make a big difference in every way that you're working with people, treating people, and how you do your job, what I'm going to call the leadership. Got it? So you're going to learn that this guy is not showing, last time in 2014, he was not a religious fellow, but I thought he told me a very important lesson. What should be your motivations? I'm going to continue on talking about Kiddush Hashem in that regard. What is Kiddush Hashem, says the Rambam? He talks about, and you're familiar with it, are you allowed to worship idols if they say we're going to kill you, or if you don't worship this idol? What do?
You get killed.
You cannot worship. And I know what you're thinking. Well, can't I just pretend I'm bowing down, but I don't really believe? No. That's a disgrace to God that you would give up being Jewish, even temporarily, in the eyes of these non-Jewish people, in order to save one's life. It's a disgrace to the Jewish people. Got it? So I first learned this, I would say about 47 years ago, when I was learning the Rambam, 47 years ago. So do you know in the Beit Midrash, in the Beit Midrash, you ever look, when you walk in, you look up a bit and there are those big letters, this Beit Midrash dedicated by Richard Horowitz and family. You ever notice that? Horowitz of Los Angeles? You noticed it? No? It's big, big letters when you walk in, right in front of you. So Dick Horowitz, he's a man in his 80s, Kanai Hora today, but he was much younger when I met him 40 some years ago, 45 years ago. And I was a young man teaching in the Beit Midrash, and I learned with him. And I said, we're going to learn Kiddush Hashem. And you're going to love this mitzvah. And this is exciting. This is where you get to die for God. You're into this?
Dying for God,
Yeah. We're ready. Yeah, just give me my uniform. I'm going over the hill. Yeah, I'm ready to risk my life. Okay? And Mr. Horowitz shocked me. He said, I'm not interested in dying for God. I go, no, you're not getting it. This is the big one. This is the big one, Kiddush Hashem. Goes, you're just not going to make the sale. Okay, yeah. So he said to me, he said, I think you don't understand what Kiddush Hashem is. And that was very insulting. I had been here, and again, I don't mean to brag, but I had been here at that point nearly 2 years. Okay, so I was like 1/4 of a rabbi at that point. Okay, I had been here for 2, and I went through all the 48 ways, and I even learned the Sheish Mitzvahs to Mediot, 6 constant mitzvahs, and he's telling me I don't know what Kiddush Hashem is. So in the end, he was right and I'm wrong. That's why I'm telling this to you. So he says to me, there was a movie called Patton, won an Academy Award. I never saw the movie, but it was about an American general, and he was apparently a great general, and George C. Scott won an Academy Award portraying the general. He said if you would watch about George Patton, you would learn better what Kiddush Hashem is. I go, okay, well, why don't you tell it to me? I'm not going to go see the movie. And in those days, I have to explain, I have a lot of young men here. This is before the internet, the World Wide Web, okay? So if you want to see a movie, there's like no way to do it. You wait till it comes around at the movie theater or something. Or I don't know how you would do it. Anyhow, but since then I've seen the snippet on YouTube. So General Patton gets up there and he's got his uniform, bum-ba-dum, he looks very sharp, and the weapon and the whole thing. And General Patton, and this was taught to me by Dick Horowitz, he looks at the young men and he says, "You guys, you think you're here to die for your country? Well, you ain't. You're here to make that guy die for his country. We're here to win the war." Mr. Horowitz continued to explain to me, you have to be willing to die in order to win the war. But dying is not a goal. And the war is called Kavod Shemayim, for the honor of heaven, the honor of God, the honor of the Jewish people, the honor of Torah. That's the war you're in. So you have to be serious about it, that you're willing, you're willing to risk things for it, your life even, but that's not a goal. The goal is to win the war, to teach the world what the Jewish people stand for, what you believe in Torah. That's your winning goal, to teach it over. So this idea of Mesiras Nefesh is in order to teach people. Got it? It was give me a moment. I'm not even sure. I think it was 1978. I was in northern England, and I was in York, England. York, it's a city in the northern England, and they have a big church there. It's called the York Minster, and I'm looking at it like any foolish tourist, and there's a sign there that says, this is called Jewsbury Lane. Jewsbury Lane. B-U-R-Y Lane. Got it? So there happened to have been a tourist information kiosk there nearby. I walked over to them and I asked, like, what's this, and they gave me a pamphlet, Jewsbury Lane, that around the year 1175 or so, they made a tremendous pogrom and they killed all the Jewish people in the area. People were given a choice between converting to Christianity or remaining Jewish. Now I'm wearing a backpack. I know you don't believe me, but I had long hair. Yeah, David will testify. I've shown him a picture. I had long red hair. I had like fire engineer, yeah? And I'm like, what, huh? Like, this really happened 800 years ago? It made an impression on me that it seemed nearly 1,000 Jewish people said, I will die rather than give up being Jewish. So they're teaching me across 8 centuries the importance of being Jewish. Got it? So that's what you're doing when you're doing leadership, when you're teaching people. Now, you're not going to do it in such a dramatic way. Hi, how are you? What's your name? What do you enjoy learning? Here, let's take a look at something. Here. But keep your eye on the ball of what you're doing. It's Kiddush Hashem. By the way, just to review from last week, when you see a need in the Jewish community and you try to fulfill it, that's called responsibility. When you see a need or a cause in the Jewish people and you get other people to join your cause,
That's
leadership. Leadership and responsibility, in my opinion, are not interchangeable. Leadership is you get other people, my cause becomes your cause. That they become excited, they want to get behind, not behind you, or alongside you perhaps, or in front of you. They might be greater than you. All right, if you understand that Kiddush Hashem is what leadership is, to make famous what Torah is about, and that you're going to do your job in a different way. Or as the salesman from Minneapolis said, I'm in a different business than those other guys. Got it? All right. I was at a Shabbaton in Tel Aviv this week, and it reminded me of an important point of Kiddush Hashem. Many points. Someone came up to me, it's a young Israeli woman, Jewish, and she said, thank you so much today when we met over at the ATM and you helped me with whatever it was. And I said to her, you're mixing me up with somebody. She goes, no, I'm positive it was you. So I realized it was another rabbi. I should feel very complimented because the rabbi that she mixed me up with, I went over, I asked, how old are you? He goes, I'm 54. I felt very good, like I'm 18 years younger than what I really am, so I felt good. But that was interesting, but I'm giving that as a lead into another story. I have two people that I love very much. They've been students of Torah, and I've learned from them. They're both medical doctors in Denver, Colorado. And I want to show you about Kiddush Hashem and how it applies. You're going to say, what, even to me? Yeah, even you. So the two of them, Dr. M and Dr. K. Dr. M is a pediatrician, and he is he feels he's America's tallest Jewish pediatrician. He's 6 feet 7 inches tall. He played Division I basketball. Division I basketball nearly 35 years ago. You know what Division I is?
No,
He's playing against guys that are going in the NBA. He goes, did they posterize me? Yes. Did they score 38 points? But I'm guarding somebody that 1 year from now is going to be in the NBA. Okay? Like he's 6'7". He's a pediatrician. And he comes in the hospital it's in the morning, and a family comes up to him, Doctor, thank you for saving the life of our father. And he said, I didn't know, I was so taken aback. I just said, good, whatever, but as a pediatrician, it's an unusual salutation. Thank you for saving the life of my father. You don't get that a lot. And I told you he's 6'6", 6'7". I mean, 6'7". Do you know how this means? You talk to him like this. Yeah. So he said, what the heck? They're thanking me for saving their father. So I called up my friend, Dimitri, who also works in the Dimitri. Anything happened this morning? Because he's a cardiologist. He goes, are you kidding? They called me up and they woke me up at 4:30 in the morning. The ER doctor couldn't stabilize the guy. I was talking, I ran in, and boy, it's one of those times I talked to Dimitri, I saved the guy's life by coming in. It was beyond what the ER doctor, the emergency room guy could do. So they mixed up Dimitri and Michael. Dimitri is this tall. He is not 6 feet tall. I'm going to go 5'10". Maybe he's wearing his heels and standing up really ramrod straight. We can push him 5'11". But this guy is like a high school point guard. The other guy is a 2 in the NBA. Okay? Why did they mix them up? They're the only 2 doctors in the hospital that wear a kippah. I'm not a rabbi, you're thinking. In our eyes, say the rest of the Jewish people, you represent Torah and mitzvahs. So even if you don't feel up to the part, act the part. You're thinking, what are you talking about? I'm just an American kid visiting here. You know what they're thinking? Didn't I see you last night on television? You were talking. That was somebody else. No, I was. Panim mo'odo melecha. The guy looked just like you. You have a weight of responsibility. So look at Kiddush Hashem as being what motivates you. I have a few other points about Kiddush Hashem. One way you do Kiddush Hashem is by teaching. Another way is how you act and how you treat people. You're going to have to learn it. I can't go over it a whole shiur now. But the way you act with people, it's not your modeling Kiddush Hashem. You're not even doing Kiddush Hashem. You are Kiddush Hashem. The way you respect people and your good character and your humility and your love and care for people, that's Kiddush Hashem. I'll give you a shortcut how to do it as you're doing teaching Torah. You want a shortcut? Want a shortcut? There's a cheat code. It's on 318 of Pirkei Avos. Rabbi Akiva said that Chaviv, human beings are precious, that they're created in the image of God. Human beings are precious, they're created in the image of God. Young men that are doing Kiddush Hashem do something even greater than God. Young men that are doing Kiddush Hashem can do something even greater than what God did. God made them in the image of God. Chiba Yetera, does anybody know? What's a greater love? Greater what you can do? Nodat lehem. Get him to know he's in the image of God. Not you told him. No, I told him. No. That he knows it. He walks away feeling different. You hear? Chaviv Yisroel. The Jewish people are Chaviv. Yeah, they're called, Bani. They're the children of Hashem. What can you do as a leader, somebody trying to do? We make our effort to do Kiddush Hashem. What do you do, says Rabbi Akiva, that's greater than what Hashem gave them? Hashem said, you're the children of God, and made them his children. What can you do that's greater? Chiba Yetera? Nodat lehem. You get them to know, you're Jewish? Do you know what that means? You hear? You got a responsibility where you come from. So you love people. If Rabbi Berg, who was just here a few minutes ago, he said, I have somebody that's very important to the yeshiva, and I happen to know you're a very good presenter of Torah, teacher, and you represent Aish Torah. Could you spend a half hour with this young man? Whatever, it would be very important for Aish Torah, his father, his grandfather. Would you put in a lot of effort? Yeah? Would you put in an extra effort? Rabbi Berg asked you to? Everybody has to be treated like that, fellas. You guys know Mati Berger, Rabbi Berger? Rabbi Berger, one of the greats. He told me years ago, a young man came in and said, have you ever heard of Rabbi Elijah from Vilna? Rabbi Elijah from Vilna? Okay, and the guy goes, Rabbi Berger, yes, I think I've heard of the good rabbi. Yeah. He goes, well, my grandfather's whatever was from Rabbi Elijah of Vilna. He knew the 8 generations, whatever it was. It's 40 years ago. So you can tell he's telling the truth because he has no idea what he's saying. He's not like somebody bragging. He doesn't even think you know who it is. So that makes him more believable. Rabbi Berger told me, I went into Rabbi Noach Weinberg and I told him I had a young man here wearing a t-shirt. It's got a red arrow and it says, I'm with stupid, pointing to the right, okay? And on the back it's my, went and all I got is this lousy t-shirt or something. And he's telling him about his descendant of the Vilna Gaon. And how much you're concentrating and you're thinking, like when you're talking to him. And Rabbi Weinberg was blown away. Wow. A descendant of the Vilna Gaon. There was a young man here earlier. Remember he had the cutoff shorts and the tank top? He was a grandson of Rachel Imenu. Got it? But everybody's important, including you. All right? Including you. So we have to do a Kiddush Hashem. You're going to do it when you're teaching people. You're going to do it in the good behavior you have. Somebody said, come on, Rabbi, be practical. Life is here and there. You're going to go to a shiva call. And I hope it's somebody, you might call a peer, and I hope it's like a grandfather, somebody, but you represent Torah. If you're a Baal Tshuva, or you're the more religious one among your social crowd, it should be that the way you talk at the shiva is a little bit more elevated than the rest of the crowd. You should learn what you can say. That tell me something about your grandfather that I could learn from. That's one thing. Or tell me something about, his life that could be an example to us that you admired about him. There's other things. But you'll develop your own personality, but that's part of Kiddush Hashem. You're acting in a different way than the Hamon Am. Okay? I have at least two other points, maybe three. There's a third way of doing Kiddush Hashem. The third way to do Kiddush Hashem, you can do it in private and no one has to know about it. It says Yosef HaTzadik did Kiddush Hashem when he declined to do adultery. Remember in Bereshis, he declines to do adultery, and he's called Yosef HaTzadik, and it's Kiddush Hashem. The Rambam says, if you decline to do an Aveira, that means you did nothing. You did nothing. I did. What do you do? I'm not doing an Aveira right now. Yeah? But you do it purely because of love of Hashem. Not because people are going to go, give you kavod, or you're going to do a mitzvah, shehakol niyeh bidvaro. And there's no one there to say amen even. But you did it with intent. You do a mitzvah like that, that is Kiddush Hashem, if you do it purely for love of Hashem. My teacher, Rabbi Yaakov Weinberg, explained to me from Ner Israel in Baltimore, the older brother of my Rebbe, Rav Noach Weinberg. Rav Yaakov explained, Kiddush Hashem is a reality. It sends out gravitational Kiddush Hashem waves around the world. It's not a psychology. It's not psychology. Your davening was better, or your Shabbos was more menuchadik, because somebody did Kiddush Hashem. It's a reality in the universe. So keep that in mind. Well, no one saw me do the Kiddush Hashem. You're sending out waves up. So you have it when you're teaching Torah, Kiddush Hashem, when you're doing your avoda, and you should be responsible. You should act like a medactic, responsible man. If you look at the Rambam in Perek Hey, the final halacha, I think it's halacha Yud Aleph, in Hilchos Yesodei Torah, I learned it with a young man. He's working on an MBA at Stanford. He took the words of the Rambam and framed them and said, this is my mission statement as a Jewish businessman. The words of the Rambam. How to be a Kiddush Hashem in what you do, your character, how you should live. Okay? That's how heavy it is. But you got to look at it all across. One thing he says, you go beyond the letter of the law, and people do not think you're strange or far away. You go beyond the letter of the law, but people do not think you're strange or far away. I asked Rabbi Noach Weinberg, my Rebbe, what chumras should a person take on? He said, well, first of all, you got to take on the chumras of love your neighbor, ahavas, loving Jews. But really, maybe even more important than that is loving Hashem and sheish mitzvahs to me. Take those chumras on. But there's also chumras of Talmud Torah, of learning Torah. Do that, and then we'll come back and talk about the other things that you were excited to talk about. Okay? That's part of your avoda. You want to be a Kiddush Hashem. People ask, a rabbi asked me, what about my wife? What about my children? I'm out running around doing Kiddush Hashem. You're always doing Kiddush Hashem. The Nesivos Shalom asks in his Sefer, why is Kiddush Hashem not a constant mitzvah? Yeah? Why? You should be doing it all the time. I'm just going to leave that out there for you to think about. I actually don't have a good answer. But Kiddush Hashem, if I can propose to you, it begins at home. You're going to get married, and the way that you act with your wife should also be part of Kiddush Hashem. When you act with your children, well, you're going to treat that young man that walked into Aish Torah, the I'm with stupid t-shirt. You're treating him like a grandson of Rachel Imenu. So you should have time for your own children to teach that, to reach them and treat them with the specialness, that Kiddush Hashem requires. Got it? But both for your wife and for yourself. People think, wow, I have to, do Kiddush Hashem. I got to do this leadership. I got to do whatever. Well, I'm so glad I got home, and now I have time for myself. like Superman throws off his cape. He's just wearing his t-shirt and drinking a beer and watching the football game now. Where are you going to most do Kiddush Hashem? I hope in your home. I hope in your home. Got it? All right. I want to just sum up for a minute or two anyway. Yeah, do I have 2 minutes? I'm just going to do 2 minutes. Your expression of leadership for the Jewish people probably will not be, oh yeah, I'm working for Aish Torah as a Kiruv rabbi. I am a Kiruv professional. Yeah? I was thinking of being a tefillin professional, but I decided to go into Kiruv. That's why I started out by saying, a little, I don't get it, okay? Like don't Kiruv. I'm Kiddush Hashem is what you should be excited about. It gives you a different perspective. The front door at Aish Torah, the Beit Midrash. When you walk in, look on your right. There's 2 doors you can walk in. The one on your right says, in memory of Samuel Friedman, from his son Peter and his wife Eva Friedman. Okay? Mr. Friedman, Samuel Friedman, was a young man during the Holocaust, 1942-43, in Czechoslovakia, I think in Bratislavia. And his son Peter was born I feel like 5 years after the war. And Peter gave over $100,000 to dedicate that sign that you see, the entry door to Aish Torah, to the Beit Midrash. And he felt that his father was a good example because his father was 21, 22 when the Nazis were full force and killing people and murdering people. And he said, my father understood how to get forged documents, how to hide people. He was very brave. And he was, if you could do that, what do? So some people say, well, you save yourself and you save your family. Yeah? Half right. Half right. Got it? Half right. You save your family and then you go out to save other people. You save your family, but then you keep working to save other people, risking your life. He said to me, Peter, My father weighed 32 kilograms. That's about 70 pounds at the end of the war, an adult man. But he had no regrets about it. When there's a fight, there's a challenge in front of the Jewish people, you want to step up. You want to be one of the people that didn't stay home and watch while the big stuff was going on. All right, that's Kiddush Hashem, and I got one other story, and then I'm out of here. I did a Shabbaton at Tel Aviv this past Shabbos, and it was pretty crazy. You guys know Tel Aviv at all?
Yeah.
Better that you don't. It was a walk on the wild side, and we did Havdalah by the beach. They call it the Tayelet, and it was after Shabbat had gone out. But we're doing, the musical, they're singing Hine ma tovu mana, they're doing the whole bringing out of Shabbat, and there's hundreds of people walking by. They're in bathing suits. They're whatever. It's going to be a big Saturday night in Tel Aviv, and there's people that are stopping by, and they're going Hamakom Yerach. People that are wearing bathing, they look very far away. It was very beautiful, and I'm just going to tell you about one fellow that I met. I started talking to a man. Turned out he said, I'm 70 years old. I remember his first name. His first name is Howard. He said, I'm 70. My name is Howard, and he's from Toronto. I don't remember his last name. I go, where do you live? He goes, wherever I happen to be. He didn't look like a homeless fellow. And he said, after October 7, not long after, I decided I had just retired in Toronto, and I came to Israel. How can I help? And I go around this country. I'm working 10, 12 hours a day and more. I'm a chef. I cook. Whatever it is for this country, I'm helping this country to heal this country and to make it a better place. This guy was not wearing a kippah, but he stopped. He was interested in Havdalah. I actually got a pleasure, because I used to be the rabbi at the village shul in Toronto. He said, I went there, now and then I would go to the village shul. I would go to that shul, but it was long after I had already left. But I was really impressed with this fella. After October 7, he said, somebody has to step up and, in my own way, take a responsibility and be part of the cause. Everybody, I hope you merit, you're able to step up. Okay, I'll be doing a third session on this coming Wednesday, and that'll complete my 3-part series with everybody. Alrighty.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone know how to turn on Dylan's camera?
I just pressed some buttons.
Well, don't erase me.